Well, welcome to Spotlight. I'm Pastor Dan. And we've kind of taken on a challenge this month is to take on the questions about what they call the Old Testament God. The God of thunder and lightning, the God of the prophets and the minor prophets. I was going through a series called Old Testament Challenge last years ago. And we were doing the books of the Old Testament, one book at a time, pretty much. So I got to Isaiah, 66 chapters, and there's some beautiful things, but some really hard passages. And this wasn't in my notes, but somehow it came out. I said, what do you do with these awful passages of Isaiah? And everyone knew what I meant, awful, in quotation marks. Boy, one of my fellow pastors came unglued. He was not happy with that at all. He said, how can you call inspired passages of the Bible awful? And of course, he wanted me to look at these wonderful passages. And I said, I know those are there. Those are beautiful. Yes, they are. But what about these? Now, maybe it was a bad idea to use the word awful. I accept that. I should have used a better word. What do we do with these passages? And these poor prophets, they didn't get to be the ones like the angels who get to announce the birth of Jesus. They had to stand in front of Israel and say, you better straighten up or God's going to send you to Babylon and you're going to be slaves or whatever. And I'm going to roll your mothers over the cliffs, and just hard passages. So we're going to look at some of the answers. One of the best answers for me has been the writings and concept of what they call a stage model. There's many stage models. But this one was Kohlberg, but you really could use the others for the same idea. So Kohlberg watched his own kids grow up, and he sort of charted out what were their motivations of why they would do something good. The first level was they didn't want to be punished. If you do that one more time, Daddy's going to spank you. The second level was the hope of getting a reward. If you'll just be good, Mommy will buy you ice cream. All right. Levels 3 and 4 became social order and then into law and order. Law and order was kind of an adult version of it. You do what you do because somebody bigger than you has made a law of some kind, and they're watching you, and you better do it. So the government, you better pay taxes because you don't want to be in trouble with the government. You better put your seatbelt on and drive according to the speed laws because the police are watching and you don't want to get a ticket. You better work out for your sports team, otherwise the coach won't let you play. You get the idea. Do your job, keep the bosses happy, you don't want to lose your job. You're not doing it because you own it yourself, you're doing it because of external sources. But he found that there was a level 5 and a level 6 where people began to internalize and have intrinsic motivations to do good. So now you're getting people like altruism, and they're good. It doesn't matter if anybody's watching, if anybody's bigger than them or not. This is who they are. They have thought it through, and they have values that they own and make sense to them. And then Kohlberg came to the conclusion that 75% of the population never get beyond level 4. They never internalize it. It's always because of external sources. And that's just all there is. They never quite get that. And so the theology, I got this from Dick Wynn and others, Irene Kuhn, who have suggested that God has to speak to every group. You can't just speak to the 25% who'll get to levels 5 and 6. What about these people who all they know is if you do good, you get a reward? God talks about rewards and punishments. And the God brings down his way he would like to relate to us, down to the level of where we are. Hoping then he can help us mature till we get to a higher level. Don't we do that with our kids? When we moved into our house is on a hill. We took 2 little boys out to the driveway and said that the ball rolls down into the street. You guys stop here. You are not to go into the road. You stop right here or Daddy will spank you. They're too little to understand about cars and force and physics and gravity and pain and hospitals and all of that. But they understood being spanked. Now that they're 28 and 30 years old, we say, drive safe, dude. And we don't want them to relate to us based upon how we talk to them when they were 2 and 3 years old. And so God comes down to our level, if you're level 2 or 3 or 4, and he speaks to us in that level. So when I read the Bible and I read some harsh passages, I say, level 2, level 3 or 4. And then I get to Jesus. Now we're talking level 6, maybe level 7, Kohlberg suggested. And that's who God really is. He is not level 2 or 3 or 4, but that's what he has to do to get us to where he wants us to go. Does that make any sense? If we hold on to that, we can still hold on to God is always good. He's even kind enough to relate to us where we're at. This is Spotlight. We'll take another crack at it next time. Thank you for watching Spotlight. We're so excited about this. We hope that you'll subscribe and so you'll get all of them. And please just forward it on to others and tell other people about it. And let's just see what kind of an audience we can get for these messages of Spotlight. God bless you.